All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely demystify the newly revamped Kentucky State ID process. Whether you're a brand new resident trying to get settled or a lifelong Kentuckian looking to upgrade, getting this right the first time is absolutely crucial. We're going to break down exactly how you can get yours step by step entirely headache-free. Watch this, and I promise you'll save time, money, and a whole lot of frustration.
Listen, let's face it, literally nobody likes spending their day dealing with government red tape, only to get to the front of the line and be turned away for missing one single piece of paperwork. It is the absolute worst. But that is exactly why we're giving you the exact roadmap you need to succeed, setting you up with all the right information before you even think about stepping out your front door.
Having a valid Kentucky ID isn't just about checking a legal box. It's basically your golden ticket for daily life. Depending on the version you pick, this card is your all-access pass for everything from securely opening a new bank account to casting your vote to legally boarding a domestic flight for your next vacation. It is a vital, everyday tool you really just can't be without. Here is our game plan for this explainer. We'll be covering essential ID prerequisites, standard versus real ID, the step-by-step application process, costs and payment methods, processing times and tracking, and finally, key takeaways and a disclaimer. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Essential ID Prerequisites. Gathering your artifacts.
Before you even grab your keys, you've got to get your documents in order. The state uses a very strict formula here. First, you need one proof of who you are, like a certified birth certificate or a valid passport. Second, one proof of your Social Security number, like an unlaminated Social Security card or a W-2. Third, depending on the ID you want, you need 1 to 2 proofs of Kentucky residency. A recent utility bill from the last 61 days is perfect for this. Oh, and if your name has changed over the years, you'll need a legal linkage document, like a marriage certificate, to connect the dots.
Now I really need you to hear this part. Kentucky does not mess around with copies. You absolutely must bring your original physical documents. No photocopies of your birth certificate, no expired documents, and definitely no laminated Social Security cards. They are incredibly strict about this to prevent fraud, so make sure your documents are the real deal.
And here's a massive pro tip that trips up so many people every single year. Standard P.O. boxes are completely excluded as proof of physical residency. If you get your mail at a P.O. box, you still have to bring separate documentation, like a property tax bill or a residential lease, that explicitly proves your actual physical home address. Don't let a P.O. box ruin your trip.
Section 2. Standard versus Real ID. Choosing your shield.
Next, you need to decide which version of the ID you actually need. A standard ID only requires one proof of residency, but it is not compliant with federal Real ID laws. That means no using it to board a domestic flight or enter a military base. The Real ID, on the other hand, requires 2 proofs of residency and has a distinct black star cutout on it. That little black star is your guarantee for flying commercially and entering federal facilities. So, just choose the one that makes the most sense for your lifestyle.
Section 3. Step-by-step application process. The journey to the office.
Okay, your paperwork is sorted. Now it's time for the action plan. Step 1. Hop onto drive.ky.gov to find your closest KYTC driver licensing regional office. Step 2, and I highly recommend this, book an appointment online. This is the ultimate hack to skip the walk-in line and avoid peak hour wait times. Step 3 is your in-person visit, which is mandatory if this is your first time or if you're upgrading to a Real ID. Finally, Step 4. Be ready to hand over any current driving permits, because Kentucky strictly enforces a single credential policy. You can't hold both.
Quick mythbuster right here, because this throws off a lot of longtime locals. Are you used to running down to your local circuit court clerk at the county courthouse for this kind of stuff? Well, scratch that. The state completely centralized the process. You now have to visit one of these specialized KYTC driver licensing regional offices instead. So double-check that address before you leave. Once you get there, you'll be handed the official application form. It's super straightforward. You literally just check the box for the specific ID and the lifespan you want. It clearly separates the standard credentials from the Real ID ones, and you can easily choose between a 4-year or an 8-year card right there. Fill it out, hand it over, and you're good to go. Section 4. Costs and payment methods. Paying the toll. Let's talk money, because nobody likes surprise fees. The pricing is actually incredibly budget-friendly. While there's a $17 base fee mentioned for a standard ID, you've got options. A 4-year standard card is just $11.50, and the 8-year standard is $23. For the Real ID, a 4-year is $14 and an 8-year is $28.
That 8-year option is a fantastic long-term investment. And hey, it never hurts to politely ask the clerk if there are any fee waivers or discounts available, especially if you're a senior or a veteran.
When it's time to pay, they're super accommodating. You can use debit, credit, a personal check, a money order, or just good old cash. But heads up on the processing fees. If you swipe a card, there's a 1.5% surcharge for debit and 2.75% for credit. If you want to avoid giving away those extra pennies, just bring cash or a check.
Section 5. Processing times and tracking. Claiming the reward. So, you've paid up, smiled for the camera, and passed the paperwork check. When do you actually get your card? Well, for security reasons, Kentucky doesn't print permanent cards at the desk anymore. On day 1, you'll walk out with a temporary paper document you can use right away. Then, it usually takes about 5 to 10 business days for your permanent hard copy ID to show up in your mailbox. But what if it gets lost in the mail? Here is your contingency plan. Mark the 30-day threshold on your calendar. If a month goes by and your mailbox is still empty, don't panic. Just give the Division of Driver Licensing a call directly at 502-564-1257. They can track it down and make sure you aren't left stranded without an ID. Now here's a really cool fun fact. When you finally open that envelope, your new ID photo is going to be completely black and white. I know, it sounds weird, but it's not a printing error. Kentucky uses precision laser-engraved grayscale images now. It's a massive security upgrade to stop counterfeiters, and honestly, it totally prevents that awful color distortion that used to make us all look terrible in our ID photos. It's a win for security and a win for aesthetics.
Section 6. Key takeaways and disclaimer. Wrapping up your quest.
Let's bring this all together with a quick recap so you can tackle this with total confidence. First, gather your original physical documents. Absolutely no photocopies. Second, go with the real ID if you ever plan on flying commercially. Third, book that appointment online at a KYTC regional office to save your time. Fourth, bring cash or a check if you want to avoid small processing fees on your debit or credit card. And finally, expect a 5 to 10 business day wait for it to arrive in the mail.
Of course, we do need to add a quick professional disclaimer here. While everything we've covered is completely accurate based on the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet's current rules right now, state policies, fees, and procedures can and do change. Always do yourself a favor and double-check the latest details directly on drive.ky.gov before you make your trip.
Getting this physical card in your wallet is about so much more than just following the rules. It really is about making your day-to-day life infinitely smoother. Whether it's finally breezing through airport security without lugging your passport around, opening that new savings account, or securely casting your ballot, this ID truly unlocks your world. So my question to you is, which everyday hassle will your new, secure Kentucky ID save you from first? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and good luck out there getting that new credential.